3DL Lego review. All right, so today we're going to take a look at set number 75329. This is the Death Star Trench Run Diorama. It was released in 2022 and it's the least expensive of the three new diorama sets. These include Dagobah Jedi Training and the Death Star Trash Compactor. Now the Trench Run has 665 pieces, but it actually doesn't come with any minifigures. In fact, it's the only one of these dioramas to not actually have any minifigures. The retail price for this is about $59.99 and features 4 new parts or colorizations in the set itself. So with all that being said, let's kind of take a look and see what we have. What's nice about this is that they took one of the most iconic scenes from A New Hope when Luke is going through the trench and trying to get the kill shot on the Death Star, and Darth Vader is here about to take him out. He's saved by Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon, obviously, but the action itself, it's pretty amazing when you think about how Lucas shot this in 76, 77 before it was released. What's nice, the instruction booklet for this set actually has a picture of the set that was built to actually film this pretty iconic scene. So with all that being said, I appreciate the amount of detail and work Lego put into trying to create all of these different little pieces and pipes and everything to make it actually look like the Death Star. All right, so let's start with the ships. So if you zoom in here just a little bit with our X-Wing, you can see right here we have a nice new tile piece that's used for the R2-D2 stand-in. Some of the nice, more detailed versions of the pylons coming off the different wings, and you have some nice jewels here for the thrust. So all in all, I'd say this is kind of like a step up from a lot of your advent calendar builds. It has a lot of the same designs, but some different techniques that really, I think, make this not feel like, oh, this is just something from an advent calendar they stuck on here. They had some new ideas, some new creations for it. Now, taking a look at our Imperial forces, you can see the different TIE fighters and Vader's TIE Advanced coming in here. Now the TIE fighters, they are pretty much what you'd see in an advent calendar. The difference being here is that they actually have this little bit newer front piece here. You see it also on one of the other Mandalorian sets. So that's a pretty new piece here that really kind of sets the TIE fighters a little bit more apart from the other ones. Here with Darth Vader's TIE fighter, they just changed the wing designs a little bit. The rest of the fuselage is pretty much the same. What I did like, though, is when you actually have this set on the shelf or wherever it is, obviously meant for display, you look at that top right TIE fighter, it almost looks like it is flying in the trench, chasing after Luke. Now, an interesting thing about Luke's ship here is, if you look, we'll take Luke's ship out, there are 2 holes, one here, that look like they're to accommodate the ship. The instructions and the box art, everything else, actually have Luke's X-Wing out here. So it's actually further out from all of the pieces, the pipes, everything else like that. And it actually, I think, makes a little bit more of a 3D effect, which I really like. But when you look at the ships, what are they firing at? What's Vader firing at? It doesn't look like they're actually chasing Luke. So what I'd like to do is actually have Luke's ship in this spot right here, and then Vader and everybody else is directly behind him. So obviously, whatever you want to do, wherever you want to put it, I just think that feels a little bit more realistic. Now, one thing we're going to do right now is we're going to take out the X-Wing and break some pieces at the same time, and take a look at the actual greebling itself here. Let's move our TIE Advanced as well. And you can see some of the work that Lego put into this. You can see the iconic blaster tower here as they're taking shots of the X-Wings as they go by. We just have so many interesting techniques to actually create this look of the Death Star. When I was putting this together, there was an insane amount of minute greebling, spacing, everything else like that you kind of had to figure out. And it got a little tedious, hence the 18 plus level, but I really like to see, it was almost like a jigsaw puzzle where you would take a couple of these pieces, put them in there like, oh, 5 steps later, I see where this other thing goes in here to make it look like a pipe connection or whatever it might be. Sometimes you're just putting down a couple pieces. Other times you're putting together like a whole, almost like a leg to like an ATST or something like that right here. and you put that in there as a whole thing, and that completes a section of it. So we have a couple different ways to look at this. Here we have our new piece right here, this whole square, which makes a nice conduit with a steering wheel piece here. A technique that they seem to like a lot was to invert some pieces and actually put them in upside down. So you can see this tile piece, upside down tile piece right here is just actually into pins. And just some really, really creative use of parts that were really designed for other things, but they put them on this model, and I think did a pretty great job of doing that. So as we spin this around, you can see some more views. Here, once again, we have our TIE fighters chasing. Spin this all the way around. The back is very, very plain. You see there's only 4 points of connection for the set. There's one here on the other side, one here on the other side, and then these 2 pins right here. But actually, holds together fairly well. So it's not really a big deal to move it using that. The back itself is very plain, but that doesn't bother me at all because it is supposed to be on the shelf, staring out, looking really, really good. So I think this is a pretty fair representation of this scene from A New Hope. You can see down here with the label, this is new, the Lego Star Wars tile piece. The Force is strong with this one, Darth Vader quote. These are all new pieces for this set as well. Overall, I like it. I like it a lot. Here's my one issue, my one hang up with this. It looks good on a table. When you put it on a shelf, it gets a little bit lost. You got to have it on the front part of the shelf. Otherwise, it's going to be, if you put it too deep, you're never going to really see the detail of it. And I really would love just to have 2 sets and put them together and have Luke's X-Wing maybe a little bit bigger and more centralized on one of the sets, and then the X-Wing squadron chasing them or something along those lines. You know, maybe like a little explosion or a ship that exploded on the ground or something like that, just to add a little bit more action to it. But I mean, for $60 and for what they did and the amount of detail they packed into this, I'm pretty happy with it. When I first saw it came out, my initial reaction was like, I don't know what to make of this. But actually building it, putting this all together, I'm actually pretty happy with the way all of this turned out. And I think Lego did a really nice job with this one. And if I was kind of giving it one of my rankings, well, we'll skip minifigures. Displayability, I'd give it a 4 out of 5. I know it's a display piece. It looks beautiful. You just have to really come up on it to really appreciate it. So that's hence the 4 out of 5. The price is $60. There's a ton of small pieces packed in here, so there's not like a lot of large pieces to really take up the piece count here. There's a ton of work put into this. There's some really thoughtful designs in this that I can't get really mad about. The price point. It's the cheapest of the 3 dioramas. It could be cheaper, of course it is, but you have the Lucasfilm tax, you have everything else, I should say the Disney tax and everything else, but I'm not too upset. I'll give it 4 out of 5 for the price. Overall, I'm a big fan. I'd say 4.5 out of 5. I like the way it looks. I love the building of it. It was really interesting to see the techniques, and I think Lego did a really, really nice job with this one. I think later on I'm going to have to compare all 3 dioramas together and see. One other thing they maybe could have done is, I don't know, maybe a Luke and a Darth Vader minifigure on either side. That might have been something to really spruce it up. Of course, they probably would have thrown $20 more on the price tag, but that could have been something else they could have done as well. But overall, pleased.